Hey everyone, I'm Gevin.
And I'm Dave.
And welcome to episode 16 of Lowlights. On this episode of Lowlights, Dave and I are joined by three-time governor of Washington and 2020 presidential candidate Jay Inslee. Governor Inslee opens up about how even after winning 3 terms as governor, winning a basketball state championship in high school remains one of his proudest accomplishments.
It's really amazing how those kind of moments stick with you throughout your life, and it's true for everybody who's had the joy of sport.
Spills the tea on President Obama's basketball trash talking.
In fact, he did a fundraiser for me a few years after that, and he was just going on and on about how I fouled him and I held him and blah, blah, blah. And, when we were done, I said, Mr. President, that was pretty heavy-duty trash talk you gave me there in front of 1,000 people in Seattle. And I just want you to know that you can go ahead and do that anytime you do that when you raise me $1 million.
Reflects on how, even though he didn't win, running for president was still worth it.
Running for president was a great experience. And for me, for 2 reasons. Number one, it was so inspiring just to meet people all over the country who believed in America, who believed in our basic values, were willing to be engaged. And I do think that I was able to elevate the need for clean energy policies to build a clean energy economy.
And shares his prediction for how many home runs Seattle Mariners catcher Big Dumper Cal Raleigh will hit this season.
Just enough to get the Mariners into the playoffs.
After the interview, Dave and I recap what happened in the sports world this week, including the action at the MLB All-Star Game.
I mean, I did say on the last episode I wasn't going to watch the All-Star Game. I violated that promise.
And who took home the big awards at this year's ESPYs. Spoiler, Dave has some thoughts about the Eagles winning best team.
Eagles fans, I love you. This is no disrespect.
Be careful what you say.
Please don't
watch your words.
Please don't
be careful.
I just feel like Eagles fans at the beginning of this season, some Eagles fans I know were saying that they should fire Nick Sirianni. He got in that fight back and forth with the fan at Philly.
This is Lowlights. Let's get into it.
All right. We are here with our guest this week, former Washington Governor, the one, the only Jay Inslee. Governor, it is such an honor to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and to talk about your incredible life and career. It's really an honor.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the greatest relief from the real world that I've had for some period of time. Lacrosse, basketball, man, this is what life should be about.
That's right. That's all on the table today. Maybe we'll get into Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh, the incredible season the Mariners are having. Everything's fair game on Lowlights. So, all right. Well, let's start here. A lot of people, you're quite well known. There's a lot of people who know you as a governor, presidential candidate, member of Congress. But not everybody listening to the podcast may know that for us, one of your biggest accomplishments is that you were quite the athlete. When you went to, I believe it's Ingram High School.
Ingram,
Yep, in Seattle. And you were actually, I believe, quarterback of the football team. You played center on the basketball team, and I believe you led that squad to an undefeated record and a state championship. So can you tell us a little bit about how playing sports at a young age helped prepare you for the career that you went on to have later in life?
Well, I'm impressed that you extol the virtues of my athletic career, but let me start with the real record that I hold, just to put this in context. I am the only governor in the history of the United States to have been cut from Little League. That was the best preparation I ever had for athletics because it taught me resilience and also self-realization. So that was my real claim to fame athletically. I loved playing ball. My dad was a basketball and track coach. He was a beloved coach. I love the camaraderie. I love my Ingram Rams from '69. We didn't win a state championship. And I personally won that state championship, as you indicated, because I made one free throw and we won by 1 point.
That's all you.
Wow.
All of the credit for the win.
How much? Do you still remember? I mean,
I was not a center. I couldn't rebound worth the darn. I got short arms and I can't jump. So.
But I mean, Matt, talk about pressure at a young age. Do you still remember the pressure of trying to hit that free throw?
It's funny. I'm a very fortunate person. I've had so much good luck in my life, and I will tell you that when you win a state championship in wrestling, women's soccer, golf, whatever it is, I will. And I've told many athletes this. I remember I gave the pregame talk to the Garfield Bulldogs a while ago, which is honest. My dad coached. I said, "You will never have a better thing in your life than tonight in this game, and you will never forget it." The crystallization of that moment is so profound. It doesn't matter how old you are. I can tell you exactly what happened in the last 7 seconds of the game. I was like, I did hit one other jump. I think I scored 3 points in that game. So it's really amazing how those kind of moments stick with you throughout your life. And it's true for everybody who's had the joy of sports has something like that. And it's a wonderful thing to have for decades. No matter what happened, I've lost a lot of races and cases, but you still think, well, I'm a state champion.
Right. Oh yeah. Flags fly forever. That's still on the board. I'm sure at the high school, that's still a record that's still a trophy in the case. But
they did retire my jersey, but it's a piece of cardboard.
Hey, it still counts. That's one more retired jersey than I have. Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, so you have this incredible high school athletic career, and then you go off, as I understand it, you go off to college at Stanford, and I think the plan there was to study medicine, but even back then, we talk about how college is unaffordable today, but even back then, college was hard to afford for a lot of folks, including you. And so I understand that you ended up actually going back home and eventually going back and graduating from UW. So can you tell us a little bit about, can you take us back there and just tell us a little bit about what that period of time was like in your life and sort of where your head was at that moment?
Well, that was the prime of life. I could jump. I could actually jump. And that is such a long time memory that I wish I could do that now. It was a great time. By the way, I was not an incredible athlete. I was a journeyman quarterback. I walked on at Stanford. I walked on onto the freshman basketball team and really much enjoyed. I was the third guard. And really much enjoyed it, but did not get a scholarship offer. Although it's interesting, the next year I was at the UW. I transferred up to UW because essentially I totally ran out of money at Stanford.
Right.
And the coach said, I was thinking about you, Inslee, the other day. And, I really should have started you instead of Mike Barilla, who ended up being a Philadelphia Eagle quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that name.
Coach. So now you tell me, a year late. So anyway, then I went up to University of Washington. And again, to show you what a great athlete, I walked on as a senior at the University of Washington. And Marv Arshman was the new coach, and he had no athletes. He had nobody except Louis Nelson, who then did play in the NBA. And I was the last guy cut. And the coach said, you should coach because you sure can't play. So that was my experience. But I played a lot of good gym rat basketball, and I was very lucky. I played basketball until I was probably 64 regularly.
Wow.
I had a Saturday morning game with guys for 30 years. I was very, very lucky to have so many missed shots over the decades.
You're even up the Hoopaholics?
Hoopaholics, yes. Hoopaholics. These are old men addicted to basketball. And it's a charity group, so we'd raise money every Father's Day weekend. We raise money for kids with some disabilities and the like. And, the friendships you have. I'm playing basketball. Until my mid-60s, I played basketball with guys I played against in high school. And
wow.
Those friendships, when you develop friendships like that from sports, it's the best thing to have that. And I know anybody who's been fortunate to have that. It's a great thing in life to have those kind of relationships. And a lot of trash talking. You learn really good trash talking during those years. Back in the day, we were dedicating the Lenny Wilkens. Of course, Lenny Wilkens, famous Seattle Supersonic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Incredible athlete, coach. And I was trash talking the mayor of Seattle because he went to Garfield High School, who we beat in the city championship. So I said, make sure the mayor hears about that in this very gymnasium, which is now Climate Pledge Arena. Make sure the mayor hears about that. And the deputy mayor spoke right after me, and he says, yeah, I'll tell the mayor about that. I'll also tell him that I saw 10 Garfield High School banner championship banners. I'm not the best trash talker.
Right. But you're right. You learned that's an integral skill, though. You had to learn it. You had to hold your own. Yeah.
Okay, so wait, Governor, I want to stick on this theme of trash talking. You became a lawyer.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
But yes, you graduated from college at UW. You went on to law school. I'm in law school right now myself.
Oh,
so
great.
Related to that. That's why I made the little lawyer joke. But you did, start to build this very successful legal career. You got involved in your community, and then, Governor, you got elected to the state house in '88, I think it was, and then to Congress a few years after that. So I want to talk about that point in your life for a little bit. It was during your first term. You voted for a very consequential piece of legislation, the federal assault weapons ban. And, it's interesting, Governor, you say that vote for that very important bill could have been what ended up costing you your reelection bid 2 years later. And so I'm curious if you could take us back in time. How did it feel, I guess, knowing that vote that you took quite literally to save people's lives could have been that very thing that could go on to kill your political career?
Well, here's how I approach the issue. When you get to serve in Congress, I know people despise Congress. They have for 250 years, and they will for another 250 years.
True.
But it is an opportunity to help people in quite profound ways on occasion. And in that particular occasion, it was a very close vote. And my vote, it could have made the pivotal vote. There were only about 3 votes necessary to pass the vote.
Just like
and I realized
in that state championship.
Yeah, right.
Good point. Yes, the power of 3.
Right.
And I had to make a decision. I represented a very rural conservative district at that time, and there was a very strong movement against the assault weapon ban, even though it was not a majority, but a lot of people feel powerfully about it, of course. I realized that it would jeopardize my reelection, but I really did believe and do believe that no congressman's seat, even my own, is not worth, a child's life. And I thought this bill had a capacity to save lives. It did pass. And while it was in effect for 10 years, it did save lives. There was a reduction in some things associated with the bill. So I have never regretted that vote. I always believe it was the right vote. And here's the happy ending of the story. Federally, that bill expired, so it was out of operation for about, 15 years. But recently, as governor, I became third-term governor, which is pretty rare, and signed a bill essentially passing it in my state. So it took a while to make it permanent, but it stuck. I had a hiatus of being thrown out of Congress for a few years. I went back 4 years later in a different district. But it certainly had, in my book, a happy ending that we have increased gun safety legislation. And I continue this effort. I'm out of office, but I'm still working on things I believe in. I work with a group called the Alliance for Gun Responsibility, and we're helping other states embrace some of these laws that we do in the state of Washington. Because even though we can't make progress federally, we can on a state level. Same with climate efforts that I'm still engaged in. So these things I've been involved in for 30 years, and like basketball, I still believe.
No, it's so been foremost advocates, for gun safety in this country. And another incredible leader who's been working hard on that issue is someone we actually had on this podcast not too long ago. That's former Secretary of Education Arne Duncan. And so this next question involves him, and we'll sort of touch on what you alluded to, which is the fact that that vote was not the end of your political career. So you did come back to Congress, and you served for, I think, 13 more years. And while you were in Congress during the Obama administration, you played a little hoops with POTUS himself, President Barack Obama, with Secretary Arne Duncan. So I don't want to get you in trouble, but who was the better hooper, President Obama or Arne Duncan?
Well, President Obama is no longer in office, so I am free to speak.
Oh, no.
But first, let me tell you about Barack Obama. He's a hoopster.
Yeah.
He can play. He's quick. He has a good three-point shot. He distributes the ball, which is a virtue that I'm not sure I ever learned. He's a good basketball player, and his only downside, he's a little bit of a whiner. I had to put a hard foul on him because I played ball denial. I didn't let him have the ball for the 8 minutes of the game. I could tell he was getting a little perturbed. Like, hey, I'm president of the United States. I'm playing at the White House, and I'm not getting the ball. So I kind of had to let him get it one time. And, of course, he went baseline, and I had to put a decent foul on him. Every time I've seen him since that was like 2009, he has griped about that one play ever since. But Arne Duncan is, he won an international 3-on-3 tournament at age, 50 or something. And he still sticks in my craw. And I talked to Arne last week because he's working on some anti-violence issues. But I put up the patented Jay Inslee cross the key hook shot, and it's been blocked one time. And I didn't appreciate that. So he kind of owes me.
Wow. So, speaking of, tell me this: was there any trash talked after that block, or was that part of the game?
Arne is very humble, so
exactly.
He seeks more forgiveness than about it. He's really good. But President Obama, he really does give you a hard time. In fact, he did a fundraiser for me a few years after that, and he was just going on and on about how I fouled him and I held him and blah, blah, blah. And when we were done, I said, Mr. President, that was pretty heavy-duty trash talk you gave me there in front of 1,000 people in Seattle. And I just want you to know that you can go ahead and do that anytime you do that when you raise me $1 million. You can go ahead. I forgave him for that.
I think we're going to have to sponsor a Lowlights 3-on-3 basketball tournament.
I think that might be right.
Inslee, Terry Duncan, and maybe they can put some calls in for itself.
I mean, look, that hook shot's only been blocked one time, so I don't know. Lightning doesn't strike twice. It's possible you just need another shot.
Later in that game, I blocked the shot of the Secretary of the Treasury, and I mentioned this to some of my friends, and I go, yeah, he's like 5'3", isn't it?
Yeah.
I was saying.
Well,
fun. Really enjoys the game of basketball, and he's a student of the game. I'd want to be on his team. I was on his team as a Democrat for years, and I'd love to play anytime I can play ball with him.
Oh yeah, I mean, such a different time in this country, and such a great time to remember. But I think so. We have you on, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't ask at least a couple questions about the climate leadership that has been such a hallmark of your career. And so I guess one of the places I want to start is just, I mean, you were elected governor in 2012. Many of us remember when you ran for president, and you really had a nationally leading climate plan that, was a blueprint for the Biden administration, which Gevin and I were both part of, and for so many others was really set the standard. And here we are in 2025. We're seeing these deadly, horrifying floods in Texas. We're seeing, the New York City flood with unprecedented amounts of rainfall. We're seeing climate consequences around the country every day. I mean, Governor, what do you say to people who still come up to you and say, I'm just not sure about this whole climate notion. I'm not persuaded that we need to do anything about climate change. How do you answer people these days when they come up to you and say that?
Well, first off, I say, look, I'm not going to convince you of anything. You're the master of your own thinking and destiny, but there's a couple questions I might ask you to pose to yourself when you think about this. One is, if you've got a physical condition and you go to your doctor and said, look, you got to have this surgery, and you go, I don't know about that, so I want a second opinion. So you go to the second doctor and they say, well, you got to have surgery, pal. Opinion. And the third doctor says you got to have this surgery, or else, you may expire. When you get to the 10,000th doctor and they give you the same answer, maybe you should listen. And that's the situation with climate science that is so well established now. And the other thing is, I do suggest to people, if you do want to think about this, broaden the source of information that you have. And one of the problems in our society today is that we have all become sort of having monopolists of only seeking one source of information. We're all drinking out of one hose, and that can end up not telling you the truth. The hose a lot of people are drinking out are sponsored by the fossil fuel industry. And those people who have an ideological bent that looks at this from an ideological standpoint. And I just encourage people to maybe look around a little bit and look for some different viewpoints to give you some thought. The other thing is to encourage people to not think of this from an ideological standpoint. One of the real tragedies in America, unlike literally any other country in the world, this became a partisan issue. That the D's think this is a problem, and by and large, the R's don't think it's a problem. That has been a deadly situation, because then people start to think about it as an identity. Well, I'm an R, so therefore I don't believe in climate change. Or I'm a D, and therefore I do.
Right.
So I just say, look, don't think of yourself as an R or D. Think of yourself as grandfather or grandmother or uncle or aunt, and think about your role as a parent, about what you're leaving to the younger people in your families. And then hope that people will look at some of this information. It is sad. I've been working on this since literally for 30 years. I started working on this issue in 1995, made progress in Congress, almost got the cap and trade bill through, and now we have done it in a state level. We almost got it through 2010, but we've got the Climate Commitment Act that has succeeded in the state of Washington, wildly successful, supported by 62 to 38 at the ballot box when the fossil fuel industry tried to repeal it.
Yep.
That's been very successful. The solar and wind energy is going crazy. The infrastructure bill and the Inflation Reduction Act that President Biden got through after I prodded him a little bit to get more ambitious, that has been wildly successful with job creation. And now we got to have states. Look, we got to have states moving forward, because under Donald Trump, he's afraid of windmills. And the only thing I figured out is he must have been afraid of a wind turbine or a wind.
Yeah, right.
To the windmill and got afraid of her. So the place to make progress now is in the states.
Yeah.
So, and we can, and we are, and look, these industries are coming on so fast. Solar energy and wind energy is the cheapest energy. One of the real sad things about what's going on right now is that Trump's position on this has prevented Americans from getting cheaper energy.
That's right.
He's shackled us to more expensive energy. I think it's really unfortunate. But technology is going to continue to advance. We're going to be back, and don't wait for Congress. Do something in your states. That's my answer.
No, that's such a good answer and so important. And, it's funny. It's related to I heard the climate denialism a little bit, of course, and it was incredibly frustrating when I was serving as the administration's spokesperson on international climate. But another thing I actually heard just as much, if not more, was from people who didn't doubt that climate science was real, but said it's too late. I don't think there's anything left for us to do, and I don't think anything that we do now is going to make a difference. And I'm wondering, that what you say to those folks, and whether and how your plan was so robust, and the climate actions in the past 4 years have been so incredible, and to your point about bringing energy prices down, what do you say to people who question whether any of this is worth it because they feel like we're too late to do anything about it?
Well, what I say is having hope is very important at this moment, and those hopes are not unrealistic. They're entirely realistic. You look at the progress we've made in the last decade and a half, it is stunning. I co-authored a book in 2007.
Yeah.
And at that point, I sort of argued, look, I argued that we would have electric drive cars that were reasonably priced, safe, convenient, and fun to drive. That has come to pass, and that's the situation right now. Most people thought that was a pipe dream. I remember when I brought the Chevy Volt to Congress to show people before it even had a motor, and a bunch of my buddies were just trash talking me, saying, this is never going to work. Well, I got a little Chevy Bolt out there. It's a real fun car to drive, goes 250 miles on a charge. It's worked. On solar, I thought the price of solar is going to come down dramatically. So it's cheaper than coal. The cheapest energy you can get in America today is solar and wind power. I said that in 2007. In 2025, it has come to pass.
Yeah.
Advanced batteries in 2009, I got into the appropriations bill some millions of dollars to advance battery technology research. Now we have two of the leading battery companies in the world are in my state, Moses Lake, Washington, with the new type of silicon anode battery. So the progress we're making is stunning. The only question is, how fast will it go? Will we go on putting a pedal to the metal, or we put the brakes on? Unfortunately, Donald Trump has put the brakes on. Now, that's going to slow us down a little bit, but you can't stop the genius of American entrepreneurs and skilled people that are building this new future. And it's all around us. Look, I can't throw a rock without hitting somebody in the clean energy business in my state. My neighbor's kid just got a job with a renewable energy company. I run over to Moses Lake and I meet a Stanford graduate who's making jet fuel out of carbon dioxide and water. We have the first fusion plant,
right,
which is nuclear energy without fissionable material and without a risk, that may be under construction as early as next year in Malaga, Washington. So, look, there is so much reason for belief in our capacity now that we ought to be filled with hope rather than despair.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you don't want to be on the bench. You want to be in the game. Trump has kind of put us all on the bench a little bit. I can't wait to get back in the game. We'll do fine once we're on the court. So anyway, I'm very hopeful. We are going to do this. We are doing this dramatically. Things that were considered Buck Rogers issues when I wrote this book in 2000 are now an everyday occurrence. Of course, we have electric cars. Of course, we have wind turbines. What people think is imaginary within 2 decades becomes commonplace.
Absolutely.
Same thing with the cell phone. Cell phone, what? That's crazy. There you have a little thing that was like Buck Rogers. It was like Maxwell Smart and Agent 99.
Yeah, right.
So technology has the constant ability to outrun our imaginations. And I think that's the case right now. Now, the other thing I will say is, look, it's healthy to have hope. It's not healthy to walk around in despair. And so for your own health, man, get some.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Governor, whether it was your fight, for climate action, or your fight for gun safety, like we were talking about before, your fight for immigration, right? You really rose to national prominence during the early years of the Trump administration because of these very high-profile fights. And then in 2019, you decided to do something that no other guest on this podcast has ever done, which is to run for president. And I think a lot of people, remember your run for president. So I'm wondering, could you talk to us a little bit about, what that process was like? And maybe ultimately, we know you decided to drop out a few months later. Any advice around, when to know when it's time to maybe make a strategic pivot we don't want to quit. We never want to give up. But, sometimes it makes more sense to pivot like you did in running for another term as governor. So I wonder if you could take us under the hood, take us back in time a bit to tell us what it was like running for president, and ultimately, how you made that decision to exit the race and to run for re-election for governor instead.
Well, it's no secret that I ran for president, but it seemed like one at the time. In fact, there were 21 other candidates, including Joe Biden and a few other heavyweights. Mm-hmm. So let's see if I can encapsulate this. Well, first off, running for president was a great experience. And for me, for two reasons. Number one, it was so inspiring just to meet people all over the country who believed in America, who believed in our basic values, who were willing to be engaged. It was very inspiring. You can end up being cynical given how slow democracy and everything is, but just meeting these people all over the country who really believed in the ability to improve our community is very inspiring. Second, I do think that I was able to elevate the need for clean energy policies to build a clean energy economy, and that did succeed. When I started, I wanted to make sure that we tried to raise all of the candidates' ambition levels on fighting climate change. And that succeeded, and including with the president, who I give tremendous credit for getting the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure bill. But, when he started, he wasn't quite there yet with that level of ambition. And I know when we were debating one time, somebody asked him something about coal, what he was going to do about coal. And he said something like, I don't know, we'll work on it. And it wasn't my turn to talk. I usually really obey all the rules, right? I don't want a technical foul. But I just said, work on it. What do you mean work on it? The planet's on fire, And so he really did raise his ambition, did a fantastic job getting these bills in the House, and they've been extremely successful. Yeah. So I do think running had a benefit. And as far as when you do something to run for office or help a candidate, what I would say is it is a tremendous experience if you care about something to get engaged at any level, whether it's school board, helping your friend get elected to the county council, or running for president. They all have tremendous benefits in your personal life because you get to know a lot of people, you're engaged in your community, you learn about your community, things that you didn't know. I'll tell you one little experience. I ran for the state legislature in 1988. I was not given a prayer winning. It was a very Republican district. Yeah, I wasn't that well known. But I doorbelled 27,000 homes during that period. And I saw poverty in my community that I never knew existed. Yeah. Walking the streets. Because, you notice you kind of get into a route. You go this way to your uncle's house, you go this way to work, and you just get in these little pathways. Yeah. And I learned about the poverty in my community, and it was stunning to me. And just one example of what you learn. And then you form friendships. It's like being on a team, right? It's like joining an intramural basketball team or something. You form friendships in politics that are immeasurably gratifying. So I guess my advice is go for it. If you care about something, in my case, what I cared about was trying to build a new high school in Seattle, Washington. And we failed a bond issue 5 times. And then the legislature wasn't responding to the problem. That's why I ran for the state house originally. And that's how the story got going. And here we are. And I'm still active, very active in a lot of these things.
Yeah, here you are.
And that's exactly what I want to pick up on, Governor. You're clearly still very active in all of these fights. You care so deeply about your community, your state, and our country. But, officially, I guess to make a little analogy, drawing on your days playing football and basketball, officially you're on the sidelines right now. You're not in elected office. And so I'm curious how that feels, given you spent so long, in public office, in the spotlight, holding, these positions of great leadership. How does it feel to technically be on the sidelines? And I guess if you had a message to citizens out there who, like you now, are on the sidelines, what can we do to make sure that although we might be on the sidelines, we're not sitting on the bench, that we're still actively engaged in this game, in this fight?
Well, I'm thinking of the right metaphor, analogy. I don't consider myself on the sidelines, actually, and I hope people don't. you're more like you're on the scout team, or you're a trainer.
Yeah.
You're an assistant coach, right? Think of yourself as a coach. You're coaching the people on the field how the heck they're supposed to do their job. So I do believe that all of us can be active in this role, even though you're not in elective office in that regard. What I'm doing is I'm acting as an advocate for climate clean energy efforts. I work with a group called Climate Power. They have been very successful in getting clean energy's jobs created, thanks to Joe Biden and others. I'm working with the Alliance for Gun Responsibility to advance gun safety legislation. I'm working to establish a pool of money to help forest fire victims. Wow. And I'm going to be helping some early stage inventors for some of their new clean energy technology. So I'm very active on these things, even though I'm not in public office, and I encourage people to find a way. Now, I do have to tell you, my shameless plug, though, I do also, I'm selling my Jay Inslee rookie Rainiers baseball card on
where can I get one?
Yeah, exactly.
Where can our listeners get one?
They're actually priceless. You can't get them.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Exactly right. There's no amount of money, right? Some things money just can't buy.
There you go.
No need to use our Lowlights promo code this time. Okay?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I mean, so we're heading into the home stretch here, and we have some lightning round questions. But before we do, I mean, I think, Governor, just talking to you, I hope everybody who's listening can just tell you just are such a positive guy, and you just, obviously everybody's. All of our lives go through their ups and downs. But one of the reasons that Gevin and I are doing this is because there's a real crisis, according to the statistics, of mental health, especially among young men. And they're struggling with depression. They're struggling with feeling isolated and alone. And I know you're a grandfather, and you have a lot of young people that you care about in and around your life. So we're also just wondering, do you have any advice to young people who might be listening to us, who are feeling alone, who are feeling down? What do you say to them?
Well, it is a challenge, and I think the internet, social media world of people now has been a very disconnecting thing that I did not experience growing up.
Yeah.
That it has had a huge impact on both the ability and desire to have personal interactions with people. And there is an epidemic of loneliness amongst a lot of our young people. So I guess what I would say is, look, the best antidote to any of this stuff is go find a gym, go find whatever it is, go find a street to go skateboarding on, go to the skateboard park, whatever it is, just go do something physically in the sports world. Doesn't matter it is, whether it's curling or lacrosse. By the way, I was bad at lacrosse too. At the University of Washington, one of my many things I'm bad at. No, but I would really say, look, just get out and find where people are and do something with sports, whether you're good or bad at it, and just have a little fun, play croquet, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think sports is one of the great unifiers and connectors in our culture. In fact, my dad, I mentioned he was a good coach, and he always believed that the number one predictor of kind of success and mental health and the like was participation in sports. And I really believe it. So I guess that's what I would suggest is the best route forward. And then maybe turn off the video games just for a few minutes.
Right. Play real sports outside, not fake sports on.
Here's another thing. Maybe find a young person that you can get involved in sports too. I was in catch with my 12-year-old grandson today, and it was so much fun just seeing him smile, because he's improving a little bit. He didn't start playing baseball at an early age like a lot of kids do, and just seeing the smiles on your family when they do something like that's just priceless.
Yeah.
He has the simple pleasures. Just bringing back memories of playing catch with my dad. He wasn't very athletic. He wasn't very sporty. He had asthma growing up, but we would, playing catch in the back. Yeah. Just bringing a smile to my face.
Okay, I can't finish this discussion without alluding to Cal Raleigh, Seattle Mariners, winning the home run derby last night.
Big jumper.
So we were going to get there.
He was being pitched to by his father when he wins the home run derby. So here's Dad playing catch with him, 30 years ago or whatever. He's in the backyard.
Right.
Yep. He's dreaming of being in the home run derby. I mean, who makes these stories up?
And his 15-year-old brother was the catcher.
And his brother's the catcher.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw that in a movie, I would be like, I would think, oh, that's ridiculous. Come on, be real. That's not a...
I think this is all CGI and artificial intelligence.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you couldn't believe it when it was happening. I know, I was texting Gevin and it was happening. I was thinking, this is insane. But,
interesting article about how he made this season, how he changed his swing of this drill he started to do to really train him to stay on his back foot that gave him this season. It's an intriguing article. Today.
Well, I need to look that up. And actually, so this gets us into our lightning round questions, but we're gonna start here for you, Governor. It's a special question just for you. How many home runs will Cal Rowley finish this season with?
Just enough to get the Mariners into the playoffs. Okay, that's the magic number that I'm looking for.
All right, that is a good answer. All right, yeah, we'll check back. We'll keep tabs on that throughout the season. As long as my Red Sox also make the playoffs, that's fine. That's no problem with that.
I'm tired of hearing seeing those Red Sox hats.
Yeah, too.
Half of Boston has moved to Seattle because of our hockey.
Yeah, I know. Well, I skipped the Red Sox after this interview, but all right, lightning round. Favorite movie doesn't have to be about sports, but would be good for it to be about sports. What do you throw on? What's a movie that you could just watch endlessly?
Well, it has to be about sports in this discussion.
Yeah.
And it's clearly Major League.
Yeah.
The whole line, just a bit outside.
Yeah.
It resonates with me. It describes my athletic career.
I know, but
I got to go with Major League on this one.
Rest in peace, Bob Uecker. One of the all-time funniest people.
Great people. I cannot watch that movie without just smiling.
No, unbelievable. Such a good one. All right. And then what about music? Any music that you listen to when you're down, or just music that keeps you going on those long days, flying around, going to county fairs, stuff like that?
Maybe it's a song that would be your walkout song.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What was my walk-off song, my walk-on song? I can't remember what it was. I'm trying to think of something that would be like good for the hometown team. Go really, really deep and say Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, there you go. Great.
High school class of 50.
Wow. Right. Great Washingtonian.
56. And he was at Garfield. My dad was coaching. My dad coached a state. He was assistant coach of a state championship team when Jimmy was there.
Stop.
I believe in 55.
Crazy.
So my dad did not teach him the guitar.
Well, but maybe he gave him the confidence. Maybe somehow there was something in the water because your dad was there that inspired him.
He gave the vision statement.
Yeah, exactly.
With some folks from Pearl Jam the other night too, so I should.
Not bad. See, not many cities hold a candle to Seattle and the greater area when it comes to music. All right, and then when I say the phrase comfort food, what comes to mind for you? What do you think of?
More, please.
Non-discriminating, you'll eat it all?
Doesn't matter what it is. Potatoes. I eat a lot of cheese sandwiches. I kind of lived on broiled cheese sandwiches when I was in Congress, so that always works for me.
All right.
And that's coffee.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
The only problem is the former owner of the Starbucks sold the Seattle Sonics to Oklahoma.
Yeah. I know. I wasn't going to bring that up. I was going to spare you that. That I heard. I know a few people from Seattle who are a little happy for Oklahoma, but not happy that they had that they were missing out on that.
It was a
bittersweet. Yeah, no question. Well, Governor, this is everything we could have hoped for and more. It's such a delight to get to hear from you, and we wish you nothing but the best, and are so grateful for your continued leadership. As you said, you might not be in elected office, but you are obviously continuing to lead on so many issues, and we're so grateful for it.
You're in the game.
We're all in the game. I think that's the fundamental message. And the game's really important to be playing right now. There's a lot at stake in our lives, and, get out there and play, but don't forget there's a democracy right now. It's a pretty important game at the moment.
Yeah.
We want people to be healthy. We want to have education. We want to have a place to live and have a house to live in and health care if they sprain their ankle. And I think all of us have a role to play in that regard. Couldn't
agree more. Perfectly said.
Thanks for sticking up for the gym rats of America.
Our pleasure. Thank you for joining us, Governor.
Thanks, Governor.
You. Be well. Keep shooting.
Take care.
All right, everyone. We are back. What a great interview with Governor Inslee. He's, it's so nice when you get to meet these people who you've seen on television and heard about it for a long time, and they turn out to be exactly what you think they are. Yeah. The Governor Inslee is like so nice and so funny and so self-deprecating and so good at so many things, which is a little infuriating. But fascinating conversation. Glad that we got to feature the most important part of his bio, which is that he was a state champion athlete in high school and put a hard foul on my former boss, President Obama.
I'm just looking forward to the Lowlights 3-on-3 basketball tournament that we're going to have featuring Arnie Duncan, Jay Inslee, and if they put in some calls for us, maybe the man himself, B.O.
Look, and I am happy to maybe referee that game and, sit and cheer on the sideline. I think I was always good at defense in basketball. Like I can cover people pretty well, but you do not want me shooting.
I don't think you could. I also don't think you could cover like any of these people that we just.
No. Oh, yeah.
You can't.
Gevin.
You can't tell because he's sitting down. You could stand up for us sometime and just kind of show your height. But I've seen your height, and I don't think that you could. I don't think that you could defend
at
against
5'11".
Arnie Duncan
I feel totally
at,
fine
6'7".
being. Yeah. Like at 5'11", I'm totally fine walking around day to day. I don't think if what you're saying, Gevin, is you don't think I can cover a former professional basketball player. You know what? You're right. You got me. That is true. But I actually want to start highlights this week with where the governor ended, which is with Big Dumper. And the MLB All-Star Game. So we talked about it with Governor, but just a shout out once again. I mean, so the MLB All-Star Game is actually I just saw this, it's the most watched, the highest number of viewers for any of the 4 major men's sports All-Star games.
Oh, wow.
And it's a little over 8 million, I think that's right. 8 million viewers is what they said. And so but I just think this year in particular with with Big Dumper having the season that he's having and then being in the All-Star Game, having his dad pitching to him and his like 16 or 15-year-old brother catching him and winning the home run derby. It like we said to the governor, if that were in a movie, you would have been like, that's not real. This is a little much. You guys should have toned this down a little bit. So the fact that it happened in real life and we got to watch it. I mean, I did say on the last episode I wasn't going to watch the All-Star Game. I violated that promise and it was close. And I got to watch the swing off there too. Mm-hmm. That was fun. And then Gevin, I sent you the tribute
to Hank Aaron.
I thought that was so cool. One of the
coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, if people haven't seen it,
of a live sporting event.
Yeah, if people haven't seen it, like I mean, Gevin, you can describe it, but it's like basically they dimmed the lights and then they showed some highlight reels of Hank Aaron and they broadcasted them on the field in Atlanta.
But it's important to know exactly. No, I was going to say it's important to know this was in Atlanta, right?
Right.
Yeah, this is where Hank Aaron played.
Yeah, and so he's one of the guys that like if I could pick anybody in baseball history to get to like watch him at his peak for a game, he's definitely on that list somewhere. And so I just thought it was so cool that when the Red Sox did this, when the All-Star Game was at Fenway in '99, they brought out Ted Williams. And I think baseball's history is so much a part of the game that it was so cool for them to acknowledge Hank Aaron. Apparently that was a former player's idea. CeCe Sabathia tweeted out.
Oh, I had no idea.
He had given the league that idea a few months ago at headquarters. Yeah. And then to see it come to life, he was like so excited and whatever. And anyway, very cool moment, very cool All-Star game.
Yeah, and I wish I could have been there, to see that in person in my hometown of Atlanta. Truist Park, where the game was played, is just a few minutes down the road. And Hank Aaron, you can't understate the impact that he's had clearly on the whole country, but not only as a baseball player, but also as a civil rights leader and someone who, in the local Atlanta community, just had a profound impact in working with other legends of the civil rights community, to advance civil rights, for all people. Yeah. So such a fitting tribute for a hero, for a legend. Only wish I could have been there to see it in person. I don't think the video on Twitter truly did it justice, but was so cool to see.
Yeah. So look that up, folks, if you haven't seen it. And then, all right, here's what I want to get into, because it is still a little bit of a slow period of time in the sports calendar. But something happened this week that I pay attention to a little bit, which is the ESPY Awards, Gevin.
Okay.
And so let's get into this. Look, I think the ESPY Awards in part are like exist just to make people have these conversations. But I want to talk about the best team that won the award this year at the ESPYs for the best team. Yeah. So there were a bunch of teams nominated: the OKC Thunder, New York Liberty, the Florida Panthers, U.S. Women's National Team, UConn Women's Basketball Team, and then the Philadelphia Eagles. So, Gevin, why don't you tell me who won?
The Philadelphia Eagles. They won the ESPY for the best overall team. Now, you can't take anything away from this Eagles team.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
We all watched them absolutely demolish and humiliate and embarrass Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But I do think that you could make a pretty solid argument for a number of the other teams in this category. And that probably just goes to show the level of play, that we saw from teams like the Liberty and the Women's National Team and Ohio State and UConn and the Florida Gators and the Florida Panthers. But I don't know. If you had the sole power to determine the winner of this award, who would your vote have gone to?
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say. I will say, I think, given that and again, Eagles fans, I love you. This is no disrespect.
Be careful what you say.
Please don't hurt
Watch your words.
Please don't hurt
Be careful.
I just feel like Eagles fans at the beginning of this season, some Eagles fans I know were saying that they should fire Nick Sirianni. He got in that fight back and forth with the fan in Philly. And I just feel like, I don't know. Like, again, nothing taking away from them. Saquon was incredible. That defense was incredible. That Super Bowl was incredible.
Hey, Jalen Hurts played well too. Don't take. I think people have been trying to take some stuff away from him. But he played at an incredibly high level and outperformed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely, Jalen was on fire in that Super Bowl. I mean, there was that play early on that wasn't good. But then later on, when he was bombing down the field,
he was lighting it up.
He was lighting it up. Yeah. So I guess what I would say is, I think, like, take the UConn women's basketball team. They went 37-3. Yeah, and they stormed through the women's college basketball March Madness.
Shout out
Paige Buckets. They ended up winning the national championship game over South Carolina. Like 25 points or something. Yeah. So that's the kind of team where it's like they did have a blowout in the championship game, but also like all season. They were just dominating.
Absolutely dominating.
Whether it's them or the Panthers, who are like such a dynasty in this era, or the New York Liberty, who I know, again, are like, really, won the first major sports championship in New York. I say just because I like reminding Yankees fans that they haven't won the championship in a while. But like, New York had been in a sports drought, and the Liberty, they ended it. I don't know. I just feel like, there are other worthy teams.
I think there's even a strong argument for OKC. And SGA,
I agree with that.
SGA, I think, won maybe a couple awards, best NBA player and best overall male athlete. But, I mean, that NBA finals. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, yes. And this is going to get us into the next thing I want to talk about. Okay, the one thing I will say about that, though, is, and again, Thunder fans, I love you. You played a great series. You deserve to win.
Yeah.
But Game 7, the fact that Halliburton
I know.
It's as I said at the time, it's always going to be a little bit of a what if for me.
I know.
And so in terms of making them the best team, it's like, well, yes, you were a great team and you won, and it's, it's incredible that you won. But in terms of best team, it is a little bit like, well, there was going to be this great Game 7.
There's an asterisk there.
There's a little bit of a question in my mind, like what would have happened in that game if Halliburton hadn't gotten hurt. So
I know, but
that's why, to me, they're not in that conversation, but I get it.
Totally. That's fair. I know you want to move along. Let's talk about best play.
Correct.
So there were a number of worthy nominees in this category, whether it was Tyrese Halliburton toward the end of regulation in Game 1 of the semifinals against the Knicks, right? Or the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks. Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks. There was Sabrina Ionescu, who drained this absolutely dirty, nearly half-court shot in Game 3. Logo 3. A logo 3 in Game 3 of the WNBA Finals. And the Liberty ended up going on to win the WNBA Finals this past year. But the play that emerged victorious in this category was the play that will be featured on the cover of Madden next year, which is the Saquon Barkley backwards hurdle. You know what I'm talking about, Dave.
I sure do. I'm now realizing as we're talking about this, Gevin, I may need to go into witness protection if I say anything else negative about the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's a great play. That is an all-timer in the NFL. But that one play, I just feel like, and maybe this is like, you get into the question of what is it? What is best play, greatest play? Like, what are we really talking about there? That was an incredible play. Yeah. Saquon is an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
And his season, watching him play last year and just absolutely wreck those opposing defenses throughout the season and throughout the playoffs.
Almost break Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record.
And to his credit, I think actually for the good of the team and for their playoff run, decided not to chase that record in week 17, but instead to let to save his legs for the playoffs. I thought that was a great decision, paid off for them. But if you're talking about the play that I'm going to remember from that last season, I mean, Gevin, it's going to be hard to top my reaction and when Halliburton hit that shot against the Knicks. That is an
crazy
all-timer,
next level insanity
in a playoff game in Madison Square Garden. It is hard for me to imagine how anything could really top that play. I mean, and then UNESCO logo 3, same thing. Like, that decided a WNBA Finals game. That's such a memorable, crazy shot that I think I will say this. I've never seen somebody backwards hurdle anybody else in the NFL. That is a crazy thing that Saquon did.
An incredible feat of athleticism.
But it reminds me a little bit of my feelings, and this is me as a Patriots fan. It reminds me of my feelings. I distinctly remember at the ESPYs about 10 years ago, the Odell Beckham catch when he went over his head back. An incredible catch. Over his head and caught a touchdown pass. Giants were playing, I believe, the Cowboys. I think it was Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football. The Giants ended up losing that game. And it was in the middle of the season. And to me, it beat, for best play of the year at the ESPYs, the Malcolm Butler interception, which in one play
completely decided
swung the winner of the Super Bowl from the Seahawks to the Patriots. One play. And I just feel like, I don't know, like it's hard for me to say that these like crazy athletic plays that decide these sort of like regular season games, it's hard for me to agree that that's the best play or the one play that we will remember from that year.
I think it really just depends on how you define best play. If you're defining best play by the most impressive display of athleticism, then it makes sense why an OBJ catch or a Saquon backwards hurdle would win that, because you just, like you said, you don't see that. You don't see that every season. But when it comes to it, if you define best play rather like the most consequential or the most game-changing play, I think there's a strong argument for some of these other plays that you're talking about. So I think the ESPY voters, which I think are the fans, which we talked about Eagles fans, they showed up. They showed up for their Eagles. They showed up for Saquon. So absolutely, that's just how it goes.
As they should. They deserve to. They're the Super Bowl champions. Please don't hate me, Philadelphia. I love your city. I like it. I've got nothing against the Eagles.
Are you about to say like hashtag ESPYs so Eagles?
Yes. Now I will.
You're about to start that hashtag and it's gonna be trending all thanks to you. And then we'll know who to thank for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then all right. So
yes.
So I think we have a game.
We have a game. I have a game for you, Dave.
Okay.
So for those of you who are listening to the interview, thank you for sticking with us. You'll remember that we asked Governor Inslee toward the end of the interview in our rapid fire, our lightning round questions, what his favorite pump up song was, or his favorite artist who he loves to turn on and listen to get him in the mood. His answer was Seattle native Jimi Hendrix, who of course is one of the most legendary musicians and certainly one of the most talented guitarists that the planet has ever seen. So Dave, I have a question for you on the theme of the greatest guitarist that the world has ever seen. So 2 years ago, Rolling Stone magazine released a list of the greatest guitarists of all time. You can guess that Jimi Hendrix was somewhere on this list.
Yeah.
But can you tell me the 5 guitarists at the top of that list?
Okay. First of all, can you tell me this? Is this going to be the kind of list like the Grubhub bagel list where like Blueberry is number 1 and like Rolling Stone was just like, well, this guitarist who's playing with Maroon 5 is the second greatest guitarist of all time. It's not like that, right?
No.
Okay, no offense, Maroon 5. No offense, Maroon 5.
But again, Rolling Stone, Grubhub. I mean, I think one clearly has more credibility than the other.
One I trust a little bit more. Okay, all right, let's do this. Greatest guitarists, greatest guitarists of all time worldwide.
That's right.
All right. Well, one of the first names that came to mind. You want me to get like 5 of the other? Yeah. Well, Jimi Hendrix, I'm going to say he's number 1. I mean, I'm just thinking about this. He's got to be number 1, right?
He's number 1.
Yeah.
He's number 1. All right, starting out strong. All right, good. Got that out of the way. Jimi Hendrix, number 1. So give me 2 through 5.
Is I mean, when I think guitarist, I think Chuck Berry. Is Chuck Berry on this list?
Chuck Berry's number 2.
Oh, let's go. All right.
Nice.
We're off to a good start here. I like this game
already.
Great
start. 2 for 2.
Okay. I'm going to say somebody who I'm actually not sure that I would agree with this ranking, but Eddie Van Halen is always very high on these lists. Is he top 5?
He is. He's number 4.
Oh, all right. No offense, Eddie Van Halen. Great guitarist.
Right.
My favorite guitarist of all time, the person who I would say is probably number 2 to Jimmy, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Is he on this list?
He's not in the top 5. Let me see where he is. He is not in the top 10. I can control F to see where he is if you'd like to know.
I think I disagree with that list then.
I'm at number 15 and I still have not come across him.
I just think that's a mistake. I'll just say, anybody who doesn't know Stevie Ray Vaughan, just Google Stevie Ray Vaughan.
He's number 20.
And go watch him playing the guitar behind his back. Go watch him.
Yeah.
Go watch just some of his solos and come back to me because I think that's not right. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Fine.
So you have 3 and 5 to go.
3 and 5 to go.
These might be tough. But no, not. Well, no, I'm thinking 5 might be tough, but 3 should be.
I'm thinking like classic. It's not Keith Richards, is it?
No. Okay. He's on here, not in the top 5 though.
Let's say, what about classic rock. All right, classic rock. What about Jimmy Page?
Jimmy Page is number 3.
All right, so, fine. Yeah. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
5 might be a little bit tougher.
BB King?
No, but BB King, I think, is in the top 10.
All right. BB King's probably my third favorite guitarist ever. So
I would. Okay, I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to let you guess. Because someone I would expect to be in the top 5 is not in the top 5.
What about Carlos Santana?
Yeah, see, he's not.
Okay.
And there's someone else who I was going to say, and he's also not in the top 5. Santana's 11.
I don't think they would put Prince top 5, but is Prince high on this list?
He's high. He's like 10-ish. No. And he's like somewhere between 10 and 15.
So I've got
a hint.
Yeah, give me a hint.
Okay, he's British.
Eric Clapton?
Was British. See, I would expect Eric Clapton to be top 5.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say Eric Clapton is who I realized I should have guessed.
That's who I assumed would be like top 3, but he's not even top 10.
Oh, I bet since it's Rolling Stone, I bet that they picked somebody like cool who like is a little bit like you wouldn't have expected him, but he's from that era.
Yeah.
So who would count for that? Who would count for that? That's not Clapton, and that's not
I'm like, where is Eric
George
Clapton?
Harrison, and that's not like one of those guys, but he is one of those guys.
Dude, I'm
what about
25,
somebody?
And I still am not seeing Eric Clapton. I'm sorry.
What about like somebody like what's his name? Oh my god, I'm not gonna remember his name.
Okay, tell me about him.
Jeff something.
Jeff, yes.
Really?
Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Something.
That counts. I'm gonna say that I get points.
Partial credit.
Well, whatever. Hey, I was the arts editor of the Tufts Daily.
Okay. Oh, excuse me.
So,
excuse me.
Wow. So that's the top 5.
That's the top 5. Surprising. Like, where is Eric Clapton on this list?
Where's Eric Clapton? What about that Allman Brother? One of the Allman brothers?
Yeah, he's like top 10-ish. Clapton's 35.
I don't know about that.
That's crazy.
I don't know about that. And there's like...
That's crazy.
And like...
Dwayne Allman's number 10.
Like, to me, like, somebody like Buddy Guy, somebody like BB King, like, I mean, I guess that's the point of these lists, but like, to say that like Jeff Beck was a greater guitarist than BB King or Muddy Waters or whatever. Like, I just sort of feel like, or Buddy Guy or whatever, like, you're kind of, I guess it's like a little bit apples and oranges, but like.
Wait. See, I'm confused because now I'm on Eric Clapton's Wikipedia page and it says Clapton ranked 2nd in Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. So how is he ranking 2nd in the 100 greatest guitarists, but he's ranking 35 in the 250 greatest guitarists of all time?
All right. I think I know what we need to do. I think, Gevin, you as somebody who didn't you help with the piece that was in Rolling Stone?
Oh yeah. That's right.
So I think that's a little bit of an inside White House reference for our audience.
Right.
I think Gevin, you as a former Rolling Stone contributor need to reach out to them and flag this and say, Dave and I are looking at this list. We have some concerns on behalf of the Lowlights podcast. We would like an explanation about where Clapton is ranking on this list.
Huh. Yeah, no, I'll get on that.
Yeah. Anyway, another great episode.
Yeah.
Thank you all for hanging with us. We, as we said, this is, summer scheduling is hard. So I think for next week's episode, it might just be me again doing the interview. Just like Gevin did the Chuck interview a couple weeks ago. But we're going to be back here. We're going to be doing highlights, and please say it every week, but we mean it every week. Please, like on Apple Podcasts, if you click follow, you will get an alert every week when these episodes drop. So instead of having to remember, am I listening and get the episode this week, it does it for you. So just go on Apple Podcasts, click follow, and make sure that you're or on Spotify. If you do that, and make sure that you're listening to us every week and getting this content so we can keep this rolling.
And we want to hear from you. Email us, lowlightspodcast@valormedianetwork.com. We'll say it till our face Well, I was going to say we'll say it till our faces turn blue, but I don't think that can happen to me, so.
And I hope it doesn't happen to me. I don't think that would be good for my health if my face were blue.
It'd be for a good cause.
Yeah, exactly. All right. But anyway, thanks, everybody.
Bye.